Hello, I'm Zoe Jen. I'm currently undergraduate student, rising sophomore at University of Michigan. Technically, I'm still undecided, but I'm leaning towards major in mathematics, minor in physics and art and design. I'm originally from China. I went to Canada for my high school, and today I want to talk about some tips or tricks you should pay attention when doing your housing research. I'm not gonna talk about like what kind of housing types and available in Ann Arbor, or how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, because I assume you will pay attention to those when doing your housing research. And what I'm going to talk about is definitely no right or wrong answers. It's totally depend on your preferences. So first, I want to talk about ACs, air conditioners. Um, so winter in Ann Arbor is pretty cold. All the housing here does come with heat because basically you can survive without heat. And then but not all the apartments come with ACs. So there's some seasons where, like a couple months where Ann Arbor gets pretty warm, and typically from the end of June to September, some of the apartments that comes with AC. There's two types of AC. Most common one, the first one is the central AC, where there's like a monitor on the wall. You can adjust the temperatures as you like. And the other one is pretty old one. It's like a square shape AC that's sticking on the wall. That is not as powerful or as strong as the central AC, but it still works. And for those not like does not have any ACs, generally speaking, you should be fine as long as you are pretty tolerant about like hotness. And then if you just come to Ann Arbor in the end of August, that's there's maybe just gonna be 1 month that's kind of warm, and you can also purchase fan as you like. But if you really do mind about like you do want air conditioners, that's a thing to you, then just pay attention to that when doing housing research because not all apartments come with ACs. And the second one is if you want less bugs, fewer bugs in your apartments, I would suggest you to live on higher floors or live away from lakes and trees. I know some apartments do not come with elevators, so you may need to carry heavy stuff or grocery stuff from the first floor to the floor that you live. That's a downside, but the trade-off is just you'll have less like fewer bugs. Generally speaking, Ann Arbor isn't a place where it has a lot of bugs, but in warm time, things those times that's pretty warm in Ann Arbor, you may get some bugs as well. If you do mind that, just keep in mind this. What the apartment is facing is pretty important as well. I know some apartments face to another apartments buildings or something like that, and apartment buildings basically block all the light source to that window because they're basically a wall just outside the window, so you won't get any lights from that. So that's a thing as well. And what kind of what kind of direction you want to face for the apartments, you can state as your preferences when you apply an apartment, like facing south, north, west, east. And then also not apartments comes with a dryer or washer in your apartment. And sometimes you gotta share a dryer and a washer with other people in certain apartments, and typically it will be on one of the floors. You have to carry your laundry to that floor and then do your washer and dryer. And then and just keep in mind that some of the apartments there are a lot of people living there, but it only has like one dryer or washer. That can be a problem sometimes because you will need to find a time slot where there's nobody occupied the dryer or washer to do your laundry. So yes, and then next, sometimes the stuff in an apartment can be like broken. That's super normal. But how the managed team, like leasing company managed team, deal with that is can be pretty quickly or can be very slow. And sometimes when it's doing it pretty slow, the process gets pretty long. It can kind of impact your life negatively as well. So I would suggest is go to some review, like housing review websites, or just on the Google Map, just search your apartments and look at the reviews. There's definitely people talking about how quick or how slow they're gonna handle the repairs and fix stuff. So I do think that's super important. If you do want a quieter environment, I would suggest not living close to any houses, like party houses, or like look for any constructions nearby. If there's no constructions, then it'll be quieter as well. If you don't like any smell of smoke, um, some most of the apartment websites will state if they are in non-smoke community. If it's in non-smoke communities, all the residents here are not allowed to smoke any substances. And if you're concerned about security, some of our apartments does hire a security group, teams, where the security people will just look around the apartments and check if everything okay periodically. And some apartments, they have pretty strict um, like security system. You have to use a card or key to swipe to get in the whole building's apartment, and then when you get to the door, there's an electronics lock, and it may be a physical key to try to open the door. And someone, when they get to the buildings, the people who don't live in the buildings, they have to call you to let you open the door, or they don't have access to the entrance as well. So, and for some of them, apartments just don't have any of these. And also, there's a thing called crime map. You can just Google that online, and you can just check if the area you live is safe. So I do think that's pretty helpful if you are concerned of any safety questions. And the last thing I want to mention is schedule in-person tour if you can, because that's things always better if when you see them in person, you can take actual peek of your apartments, and you can ask questions to the leasing office directly if you do have any. And then you can just imagine you living there. It's just better to have an in-person tour. I know there's definitely other tips or tricks that maybe you should pay attention to. It really depends on you. It really depends on you. I just list a couple things I do think which is important to me. I hope you find this video helpful, and welcome to UM.